At the Association of the US Army Expo held in early October, General Dynamics showed off a new Abrams tank called AbramsX. While it has many additions and changes compared to current Abrams tanks serving in the US Army, two changes are by far the biggest. One is replacement of the gas turbine with a new hybrid diesel-electric power plant. The other builds on the same line of thinking that the 1980s testbed TTB Abrams had, which Russian tank designers also used when they made the newest Russian tank, the T-14. Yes, AbramsX also has all of its crew members moved into the hull of the tank, with its turret remaining unmanned. So stay tuned for all the AbramsX details. The Abrams has a new hybrid power pack, but guess what else features hybrids? Our sponsor, Bloodline Heroes of Lithas, has an awesome new creature hybrid system. It allows you to create champions by combining the bloodlines of elves, demons, orcs, and many more. They keep adding new characters, so the customization possibilities are endless. You can even search for champions, change their gender, or raise an heir together. Bloodline is a fantasy RPG where you can build your own kingdom and steer its economy. Enjoy the compelling storylines and stunning 3D graphics. This Halloween, Bloodlines is introducing the new vampire clan, the Accursed. These bloodthirsty assassins can even nuke your enemies. Play the game for free on Android and iOS. Use my link or scan the QR code to get a special starter pack worth $20 with 10 energy points, 100,000 gold and 100 diamonds, available for the next 30 days. By participating in the Halloween event starting October 27th, you'll be able to obtain an Accursed champion for free on the 7th day. Back to our video now. General Dynamics Land Systems presented their Abrams demonstrator, which showcases various innovations that might be embraced by the US Army or any other customer as part of their future tank investments. Certainly the unmanned turret is perhaps the biggest such innovation. With a turret devoid of crew members, the crew would be safer. Historically, turret hits represented a large share of hits to a tank. The greater distances became, the more hits tended to end to the turret. While the tank itself might very well be neutralized, after a successful hit or two to the turret, the crew would likely survive those hits. If the enemy is subdued by other forces, even the tank hull might still be saved and utilized, after a refurbishment. All the crew members in the AbramsX sit in the front of the hull, in an arrangement very similar to the TTB Abrams demonstrator and the Russian T-14. Each crew member has their own hatch to enter and exit the vehicle. With such an arrangement, the armor on the tank can be redistributed, perhaps armoring the front of the hull even more, while leaving the turret somewhat less armored. General Dynamics also said the AbramsX features armor that better protects it against bombs dropped by drones, which would signal its top armor surfaces received some changes. But there have been no details released on armor for the AbramsX. What was said is that the turret shown does not feature add-on armor. Without it, the weight of the entire tank was disclosed as being 54 US tons. Another statement by General Dynamics representative had the weight of the tank being 10 tons less than the Abrams currently in US service. Those might refer to US tons or to metric tons, there's no way to know. But it's clear that the whole turret is basically newly designed, as opposed to the outer hull, which is mostly left unchanged from the regular Abrams, though it does have cosmetic differences and plenty of interior changes. 3 crew members is not something the US Army might be sold on, but it's certainly not without a precedent. Legacy Abrams is actually one of the last new tanks still using 4 crew members and not using an autoloader. AbramsX buckles that heritage line, finally adopting an autoloader in its turret. Its gun, despite being the same caliber as Abrams, is different as well. It's a variant of the XM360 gun that was developed for the cancelled Future Combat Systems family of vehicles over a decade ago. The gun may feature a few inches longer barrel and is capable of withstanding greater pressure than the current Abrams gun. That might mean it could fire kinetic energy penetrators with better armor-piercing stats. It's also a bit lighter and comes with the ability to program the rounds it fires. For example, to compensate for temperature variations in propellant, or to send detonation instructions to smart rounds. Those would increase accuracy and effectiveness of certain rounds. Currently, the latest variant of the Abrams SCP-V4, not yet in Army service, is the first to receive such a programmable cannon capability. Moving the crew members up front meant that some of the fuel tanks that were positioned there had to be taken out, but that did not result in lower range, because AbramsX has gotten rid of the fuel-hungry gas turbine. Instead, it got a hybrid diesel and battery-driven power pack. The whole package was described as 50% more fuel efficient than the one in regular Abrams. However, due to less actual fuel carried, the useful range of the tank is allegedly about the same. Also, according to the maker, battery-assisted drivetrain can equal or better Abrams' acceleration. Added benefits of the hybrid power pack means that the tank can operate silently when not moving, which would make it harder to be detected. It's not clear whether the tank can actually move without its diesel engine turned on for very brief periods until its batteries get depleted. Besides the different main gun, AbramsX features a large 30mm autocannon mounted on top of its turret, which is operated remotely from inside the tank. With programmable ammo, such a gun can cover a wide range of roles. It might be especially useful against various small drones. The coaxial machine gun is still present, of course. The turret also houses a launcher for several Switchblade 300 loitering munitions. Those have their own sensors which can be used for scouting, but that munition is devised to eventually ram into a lightly armored or unarmored target. The turret also features an array of sensors, to warn against lasers, to monitor movements around the tank, and even to track incoming projectiles fired at the tank. While the demonstrator shown doesn't actually have an active protection system installed, spaces reserved for its radar arrays are clearly visible. The current Abrams tanks in US service don't regularly use such systems, though some Abramses have been modified to use the Israeli-made trophy system. Peculiarly, the AbramsX demonstrator shows two identical rotatable sensor mounts on its turret and no dedicated gunner sensor package. Usually gunner sensor sights are fixed, looking in the direction of the gun, but are quite well protected. Commander's sight on a regular Abrams is rotatable. AbramsX seems to be trading some passive protection of its sensors for added situational awareness and redundancy. Two rotatable sensor packages can cover more at once, and if one is destroyed, the other one can almost fully replace its capabilities. Insides of the sensor packages were simply described as featuring third-generation thermal cameras, which is a buzz term that only the latest SCP-V4 Abrams for the US Army is also touting. Again, that version is yet to enter US service, come 2025. Finally, there is an AI-assisted target tracking system on board. It uses the feeds from all the sensors and is, according to General Dynamics, able to alert the crew members to a tank-like contact a few miles away. With 90% chance the contact is correctly identified. Detailed context was not provided, like the amount of possible forest or urban clutter. It has to be pointed out once again that the AbramsX is an unsolicited proposal from General Dynamics. It's a technology demonstrator, showcasing not just the core changes done to Abrams, the unmanned turret and the hybrid power pack, but also possible options of various subsystems. As mentioned, the US Army is already incorporating some of those to existing or up-and-coming Abramses. The third-generation thermal sensors, APS systems, programmable ammo, and so on. AbramsX is thus a potential roadmap of various technologies embodied in a single demonstrator vehicle. It's very likely that even if the US Army orders a whole new generation of Abrams vehicles, that they would only partially be based on the AbramsX. The Army would likely pick and choose what they like. For example, they're still not completely sold on the idea of losing one crew member, as one more crew member, even in a tank with an autoloader, can aid with situational awareness, with usage of roof-mounted weapons, communication, and can be helpful in maintaining the tank. Whether the next generation Abrams in Army's service will end up looking like AbramsX is debatable, but its future tech is currently creeping into the Army as well.